Assassin's Creed Revelations has a heartbreaking detail which not a lot of players might have noticed, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you what that detail is. During sequence 9 called Revelations, Ezio unlocks the door to Altair's library and finds the remains of the old Leventine master himself, sat alone in his chair holding another Masyaf key. But this key is imprinted with his final moments, and it's in this memory lost legacy that we get to see this heartbreaking detail. I'm going to play the full scene for you just so we can have the full context.
You have seen to my books?
Yes. Some we sent with the Polos. The rest will go with me to Alexandria.
Good. Very good.
Father, I do not understand. Why did you build a library if you did not intend to keep your books?
You should go. When the Mongols return, Masyaf must be empty.
I see. This is not a library at all. It is a vault.
It must stay hidden, Darim. Far from eager hands. At least until it has passed on the secret it contains.
What secret?
Go, son. Go be with your family. And live well.
All that is good in me began with you, Father.
In much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
What does it tell you? What do you see?
Strange visions and messages of ones who came before, of their rise and their fall.
But what happens to us, Altair? To our family? What does the apple say?
Who were the ones who came before? What brought them here? How long ago?
Get rid of that thing!
This is my duty, Maria. If you are asked, say I sent the apple away. Tell them I sent it to Cyprus or Cipango, or that I dropped it into the sea. Tell them anything to keep men away from this place. This apple must not be found. Not until the time is right.
After Altair speaks with his son for the final time, Altair seals himself away inside of his library, which we now know is actually a vault, and hides the Apple of Eden away from prying eyes. Now most players will simply extinguish the torches and put the Apple of Eden away as quickly as possible and go sit down and rest. I mean, why wouldn't you? You'll get some interesting lines of dialogue from Al-Mualim, Altair's thoughts when studying the Piece of Eden, wondering who the ones who came before were, what happened to them and where did they go, along with Maria telling Altair to get rid of the Piece of Eden. I'm pretty sure this is referenced in Altair's codex in Assassin's Creed 2. If it is, I'll put the codex page up on screen now for you. However, if we linger about for a while before putting the Apple of Eden away, you'll hear this interesting piece of dialogue.
Maria? Where are you?
Where is she?
gone, Father. You do not remember? She's gone.
While making this video, I decided to have a look into my copy of the Assassin's Creed Revelations novelization by Oliver Bowden, and see if there was any information here regarding Altair's final moments, and there's gems here which I'd love to share with you now from chapter 76. Who were the ones who came before? Thought Altair as he made his way unhurriedly down the long hallway that led to his great domed underground chamber. As he passed them, the torches on the wall lit his way, fueled by combustible air which led to them from hidden pipes within the walls, ignited by sprung flints which operated as his weight triggered catches under the floor. They flared for minutes behind him, then went out again. What brought them here? What drove them out? And what are their artifacts? What we have called pieces of Eden? Messages in bottles? Tools left behind to aid and guide us? Or do we fight for control over their refuse, giving divine purpose and meaning to little more than discarded toys? He shuffled on down the hall, clutching the box, his legs and arms aching with weariness. At last he gained the great gloomy room, and crossed it without ceremony. He reached his desk with the relief that a drowning man feels when he finds a spar to cling into the sea. He sat down, placing the box carefully by him, well within reach, hardly liking to take his hands from it. He pulled paper, pen, and ink towards him, dipped the pen but did not write. He thought instead of what he had written, something from his journal. The apple is more than a catalogue of that which preceded us. Within its twisting, sparkling interior, I have caught glimpses of what will be. Such a thing should not be possible. Perhaps it isn't. Maybe it is simply a suggestion. I contemplate the consequences of these visions. Are they images of things to come, or simply the potential for what might be? Can we influence the outcome? Dare we try? And in so doing, do we merely ensure that which we've seen? I am torn, as always, between action and inaction, unclear as to which, if either, will make a difference. Am I even meant to make a difference? Still, I keep this journal. Is that not an attempt to change, or guarantee what I have seen? How naive to believe that there might be a single answer to every question, every mystery, that there exists a lone divine light which rules over everything. They say it is a light that brings truth and love. I say it is a light that blinds us, and forces us to stumble about in ignorance. I long for the day when men will turn away from invisible monsters, and once more embrace a more rational view of the world. But these new religions are so convenient, and promise such terrible punishment should one reject them. I worry that fear shall keep us stuck to what is truly the greatest lie ever told. The old man sat for a while in silence, not knowing whether he felt hope or despair. Perhaps he felt neither. Perhaps he had outgrown or outlived both. The silence of the great hall and its gloom protected him like a mother's arms, but still he could not shut out his past. He pushed his writing materials from him and drew the box towards him, placing both hands on it, guarding it. From what? Then it seemed that Al-Mualim stood before him, his old mentor, his old betrayer, whom he had at last exposed and destroyed. But when the man spoke, it was with menace and authority. In much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. The ghost leant forward, speaking now in an urgent whisper close to Altair's ear. Destroy it. Destroy it as you said you would. I can't. Then another voice, one which caught at his heart as he turned to it. Al-Mualim had disappeared. But where was she? He couldn't see her. You tread a thin line, Altair, said Maria Thorpe. The voice was young, firm, as it had been when he'd met her 7 decades ago. I have been ruled by curiosity, Maria. As terrible as this artifact is, it contains wonders. I would like to understand as best I can. What does it tell you? What do you see? Strange visions and messages of ones who came before, of their rise and their fall. And what of us? Where do we stand? We are links in a chain, Maria. But what happens to us, Altair, to our family? What does the apple say? Altair replied. Who were the ones that came before? What brought them here? How long ago? But he was talking more to himself than to Maria, who broke in on his thoughts again. Get rid of that thing. This is my duty, Maria, Altair told his wife sadly. Then she screamed terribly, and the rattle in her throat followed as she died. Strength, Altair. A whisper. Maria, where are you? To the great hall he cried, where is she? But the only answer was his echo. Then a third voice, itself distressed, though trying to calm him. Father, she is gone, don't you remember? She is gone, Durim said, a despairing howl. Where is my wife? It has been 25 years, you old fool, she's dead! His son shouted at him angrily. Leave me to my work. Softer now. Father, what is this place? What is it for? It is a library and an archive. To keep safe all that I have learned, all that they have shown me. What have they shown you, Father? A pause. What happened at Alamet before the Mongols came? What did you find? And then there was silence, and the silence covered Altair like a warm sky, and into it he said, their purpose is known to me now. Their secrets are mine. Their motives are clear. But this message is not for me. It is for another. He looked at the box on the desk before him. I shall not touch that wretched thing again. Soon I shall pass from this world. It is my time. All the hours of the day are now coloured by the thoughts and fears born of this realization. There is no next world, nor a return to this one. It will simply be done. Forever. And he opened the box, and in it on a bed of brown velvet lay the apple, a piece of Eden. I have let it be known that this apple was first hidden in Cyprus, and then lost at sea, dropped in the ocean. This apple must not be discovered until it is time. He gazed at it for a moment, then rose and turned to a dark recess in the wall behind him. He pressed a lever which opened a heavy door, covering a hidden alcove, in which stood a pedestal. Altair took the apple from the box, a thing no bigger than a kickball, and transferred it quickly to the pedestal. He worked fast before temptation could work on him, and pulled the lever again. The door over the alcove slid shut, snapping into place with finality. Altair knew that the lever would not operate again for 2.5 centuries, time for the world to move on perhaps. For him though, temptation was over. He took his seat at his desk again, and took from a drawer a white alabaster disc. He lit a candle by him and took the disc in both hands. Raising it in front of his eyes, closing them and concentrating, he began to imbue the alabaster with his thoughts, his testament. The stone glowed, lighting up his face for a long time. Then the glow faded, and it grew dark. All grew dark. At some point in Altair's life, after his wife had been killed at Masyaf, it seems for a moment that Altair had forgotten what had happened to her, and was wondering where she was, leading to his son to remind Altair that she's gone. Whether this was just a one-time thing, or a common occurrence, I can't say for sure. Was this because of grief, because of his old age, or because of how obsessed Altair had become with the piece of Eden, causing him to lose track of time? I don't know. I'm inclined to think it's a combination of all three though, and yet given the information included in the novelization of Assassin's Creed Revelations about Altair's last moments, it certainly adds a level of sadness and heartbreak to the moment. I guess Al-Mualim was right. He who increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. If you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, I reckon you're going to love the video that's on screen now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.